And you know, it was a nice turnaround from Friday. If you were with us last Friday, we had some record rainfall talking about it. We reached a record rainfall in the day of 2.77 inches. The previous record was 2.24.
Absolutely. The last time you checked in with us, we were broadcasting, or at least we were on social media telling you guys that the flooding possibility was around, but today we saw none of that.
Absolutely. And if you were there Saturday too, you noticed that it was cloudy, a gloomy start. But then by the afternoon time, man, I tell you, it's time to put these on, man. It was definitely a much sunnier day. Not a cloud in the sky. It was perfect.
I know. The sunglasses were back out again in full force, and I was loving it out there.
Sunshine, man. Sunshine is always nice. Perfect. And yesterday even, there was no wind. It was just sunshine.
Yep.
Can I just say it again? Sunshine.
Sunshine. It's a good thing to have. We also had those winds around quite a bit. So if you were outside getting blown around a bit by the winds, we'll be talking about that a little bit more also later in the show.
Today I had my sweatpants on. I felt like I was getting blown around by the wind like in a storm. It was perfect though. It was like, the weather's dream. But the sunshine was definitely the biggest story though. A huge turnaround from the rain, and not much rain in sight this week either too.
This week it looks like it's going to be rather clear, but that's a different story for our friends up in the Northeast, and we're going to be getting a lot more in depth than that in a few minutes here. But first, I'm going to take a little bit of a look around the local area here in Tallahassee because it's really beautiful. And, well, we've got nothing to talk about in terms of weather. We're going to be rather clear and rather calm for the next few days as high pressure builds into our area. And a weak front we'll see once again on Thursday. So as of right now, it's looking beautiful and clear. We're going to be talking about a lot of this more later in the show as well. But as for our satellite and radar, our friends down in South Florida were waking up to a few morning showers early this morning down in Miami and in West Palm Beach. And that was part of that cold front that moved through our area on Friday. That just draped right down the state and pushed on through South Florida. But if you could see right above my head up here, that's where the craziness is in terms of weather. We're going to be getting a lot more in depth in that later on in the show, but for now, we're going to be taking a look at what's going to happen tonight here in Tallahassee. Well, that cold front pushed through, which means it's going to be a really cold night once again. We're talking about the 30s, so break out those jackets because you're going to need them once more tonight. But as of now, we've got something cool to talk about here back at the desk, and that involves an asteroid, actually.
Well, I'm not too much of a space person, but I'm sure you can tell me more. What's going on out there, buddy?
Yeah, this is actually really cool. We have an asteroid that was discovered in 2004, and it's going to be making its closest pass to Earth. And by close, I mean 745,000 miles away.
I was going to say, we're not looking at deep impact, are we? We're not looking at that, right?
We're not. But on the bright side, it's going to be a perfectly clear night, and you can actually, if you have a strong pair of binoculars, you can look to the skies, and you just might be able to see it.
Interesting, and yeah, it goes along with your forecast you were just showing. It would be cool, but clear is the biggest thing if you want to see these awesome events in the space.
Absolutely. That cool conditions as well. You look up, you're going to see a lot of stars, but you pull out a telescope or some binoculars, you'll be able to see an asteroid.
Absolutely. Well, talking about that 37-degree weather, that's more locally in Tallahassee, and we got some stuff to talk about here in Tallahassee, or not too much, but enough to talk about. So let's get right into it. Current temperatures right now, we're looking at 54 in Tallahassee. It's chilly, and the wind is still blowing, folks, so have the jackets out. 52 in Monticello, 52 in Thomasville, 50 in Valdosta, 56 in Perry, 58 in Carabel. So mainly we're in the mid to upper 50s across the entire region, 60s near the coast. Tallahassee, 54, once again, partly cloudy skies again. The wind is the big story, though. Out of the west-northwest at 14 miles an hour with higher gusts at times. So you get blown over a couple of times like I did today. It's chilly out there. Humidity is low, though. That's the nice thing. It's rather dry out there. Satellite radar, again, showing mainly clear conditions today. We had a few clouds in the afternoon today, but other than that, mainly clear conditions here in the capital city. Not too shabby for a nice evening out tonight. Water vapor really showing the dry conditions. Here we have dry air seeping in behind what will be a nor'easter for the northeast starting tonight and into tomorrow. So we're on the dry side of it. So we got dry air seeping in, cooler air for tonight, clear skies, of course, the northeast. Here's the future as it's going to show it really nicely. We got low pressure starting to redevelop. So we got leftover low pressure here across North Carolina. What's going to happen is it's going to redevelop over the Atlantic. And what's going to happen is it's going to start pushing in a lot of snow, heavy snow at that. Blizzard conditions up in the Northeast for Boston, New York City. It's just going to be a mess up there. They're going to start putting curfews on driving tonight as the worst of the storm starts to push through. We'll start to see this original low pressure system begin to degenerate later on tomorrow, tonight into tomorrow as well, and the system will start to pick up in intensity as it quickly lifts off to the northeast later on tomorrow. High pressure, though, you'll see it right behind that nor'easter again. Plenty of sunshine to come around for Wednesday and into Thursday as well. Maybe a slight change of shower later on in the week. We'll get to that later on in the show. But you can see high pressure is going to be in control starting tomorrow and into Wednesday. Again, for tonight, 37 degrees, clear skies. Again, have the jacket, especially with the wind. It'll start to die down. But early on in the night, you'll still feel the wind. So have the jacket, the windbreaker out there if you're having like sports tonight. I am sports. It'll be chilly tonight for that. Tomorrow, 63 degrees is what we're looking at. Nice sunshine. And of course, the wind will still be there because that system is still in the northeast. It's going to be pretty strong. We're going to have a reinforcement of energy into that system, so it's going to help keep those winds quite blustery tomorrow. But again, 63, not too shabby here in the capital city. So again, 63 tomorrow, 57 on Wednesday. Again, as the high pressure moves in, we'll start to see calmer conditions. So our temperature is going to be a little bit cooler. 35 on Wednesday morning, 47 Thursday morning, 41 Friday, and again, 60s most of the time. Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. What a beautiful weekend, Paxton. Tell me more.
It is such a beautiful weekend for us down here in the southeast, but in the northeast, not so much, where you can see the nor'easter working its magic with all the precipitation up there. And while in Florida, it's nice and sunny here for us, we did have this little cold front pass through our area a couple of days ago, bringing in a little bit of moisture, but nothing so much. Water vapor is showing that pocket of dry air down in the southeast and in southern Florida, and we have that dry area in our area as well. But if, again, looking where the nor'easter is in the northeast above the Carolinas, there is a lot of moisture up there and a lot of snow associated with that as well. Looking at our 24-hour temperature change, we have a 4-degree difference this time today than yesterday, and we also have an 18-degree change in Atlanta. So you can see how strong that cold front is, and you could see that it did not reach southern Florida yet, where they have an increase in temperatures still. Currently, it is 54 in Tallahassee. It's partly cloudy, but the sun is shining, like what Josh and Matt were saying earlier. And in Atlanta, it is cloudy, 38, so they are definitely feeling the effects of that cold front that's already passed and the low associated with the nor'easter. Radar again is showing nice and clear in Tallahassee, but in central Florida, the Orlando area, Tampa area, they are feeling the effects of the cold front, the rain associated with it. And Miami will be getting that rain. They had it earlier today, and they are still experiencing that a little bit. For tonight, it's going to be 35 in Tallahassee. So make sure you bring the jackets, the scarves with you today. And also those boots, since it is going to be nice and chilly, and like Josh was saying, it is going to be a little blustery out there tonight as well. And then tomorrow, it's going to be 63 degrees in Tallahassee. So it is still nice and cool out there, but just in layers because it will be sunny. It will get a little more mild as the day goes on. But like I said, you want those layers with you because it will get a little warm, and you're not going to want that winter jacket. And for tomorrow night, it is going to be 36 degrees, a little warmer tomorrow night as compared to tonight, but it's still going to be nice and cold for you guys. And that you can see that the low pressure system that is in the southeast region right now, it will be bringing in the cooler temperatures marked by all these blues. But again, if you want the warmth, you're going to have to drive 7 hours down to Miami to get the sun and that nice warmy conditions. But right now, we're just going to hand this back on over to the desk with Matt and Josh.
Thanks, Paxton. And we've mentioned it quite a couple of times about the nor'easter shaping up for the northeast. And I think it's time to name a couple things to make sure that people of the northeast know what to do to stay safe and avoid any casualty issues up there.
Absolutely. This storm is going to be bearing down on the northeast over the next couple of days, and one of the biggest things that you can do at this point is to just stay off the roads as much as you can.
Like I mentioned, I think they have a curfew starting tonight at 11 p.m. In New York City just to make sure that no one is on the roads tonight. There's no need for it. I mean, we're looking at blizzard conditions. You're going to get feet of snow, and it just makes it literally impassable, especially in downtown Manhattan. That's just a mess with that much amount of snow.
Absolutely, and plus with the high winds, possibilities of some trees falling on power lines, it's just not a good time to be outside. If you're up in the northeast and familiar with hurricane conditions, well, it's kind of like that. Just stay inside. Not a good time to be outside.
Just weather the storm, have the radios on, and be patient for that storm to pass. There's no need to rush out of there. But for right now, we're going to head back out to Coral on the wall.
Thanks, Josh. We have a lot to talk about today here on the National, but we're going to start things off over on the West Coast, or I guess I should say East Coast. We have temperatures right now in Boston, 29 degrees, and that's going to help feed the system and really help it produce snow. And off on the West Coast, you can see things are starting to warm up. We do have temperatures a bit on the warmer side, and of course, here in the plains, we're seeing a great big warm up, which I will talk about in just a second. So here we are going in to continue on with everything, and there is that temperature change. Here you can see we have a ridge, and it's denoted by this quick change in temperature. The last 24 hours, temperatures have gone up 20 degrees in the plains, and of course they have dropped here on the east coast of the country, where we are dealing with that incredible northeaster they're dealing with up there. And to talk about that, here we're going to show you, here's mostly dry conditions. We do have this little low pressure system off in the southwest. It's bringing some much needed rain into California right now. They are going through a very severe drought, so that rain is going to be very much needed. And of course, we'll zoom in into the northeast as we continue. There is that low pressure system off on the top right here. Its center is right there. And you can see there's a freezing line that follows right where my arm is in Washington, D.C. That is where the rain is changing over into that thick, heavy snow, and that is where we are going to be seeing areas of problems. I'll step out of the way so you can see this full system. That was the cold front we were dealing with last week, and that is going to help feed into this low, as Josh spoke earlier about it today. And we'll zoom in right now into the area. Things are a little close up. There's that freezing line, and you can see New York, Washington, D.C., and of course Pittsburgh and parts of West Virginia are already starting to see that snow. And we're going to go through the warnings with you and explain just a sec. Like the blizzard warning here, they are expecting winds to be incredibly strong and snow up to 10 to 18 inches as the wind is blowing. So it is creating those very difficult visibility conditions right now. And of course the winter storm warning, they are going to be seeing a bit more snow at 18 to 24 inches, and of course the winter weather advisory, they are expected to see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow. And that may not be as much, but it's still parts of areas of concern for most of the region. A lot of snow, a lot of issues, and a lot of concern, especially as this could be a potential record breaker, as they are expecting the system is going to really ramp up overnight into tonight. And as you might be surprised, airport delays are at 0, but that is because they've already canceled flights up to the next 3 days out. So there's no airport delays to really speak of, especially in our typical problem areas in Detroit, D.C., and New York, because they're not accepting any flights in or out of the area for the next few days. So I know several people have travel plans that have been ruined by this, but better safe than sorry. And as we zoom out here with the weather headlines, we're going to go on and head things out through with Paxton with the next local.
Thank you, Coral. Well, we do have cooler, drier conditions coming in on Wednesday. The high pressure is building in on Wednesday as well, and the weak front, it's moving in on Thursday, making our rain chances a little bit higher, only 10%, nothing too much for Thursday. So just to be safe, bring that umbrella with you then. But between today and tomorrow, it's going to be nice and clear. You don't have to worry about any rain. Currently, Tallahassee, it's 54, 60 St. Mark's. We're in the 50s everywhere except for St. Mark's, where it is 60. So we do have some cool temperatures, and they're just going to be dropping from here. They're going to get a lot cooler throughout the night in the upper 30s. Make sure you dress warm if you have any plans for tonight, and also dress warm for tomorrow night as well, since again, it will be cool. Looking at the winds from tonight going on into tomorrow, you can see that they have counterclockwise flow, which is associated with low pressure systems. And as we go through tomorrow, you can see the winds shifting and becoming more northeasterly, which is associated with high pressure systems, and they rotate clockwise. And you will see that since that high pressure will be taking place on Wednesday, bringing in some calmer winds for us as well. Futurecast is showing we do have this front that just passed our region in southern Florida. It's passing off, and you can see that it's connected to this nor'easter up in the northeast in New York, and this low pressure is associated with that nor'easter as well, tying into it and making it stronger as well, adding to the atmospheric instability. And then this front will get into our region around Thursday, bringing in the more chance for some rain and cooler temperatures yet again. So don't put those sweatshirts and jeans away just not yet. And again, here's that high pressure system, which we did see from the winds that does have the clockwise flow, bringing in the northeasterly winds into our area, and also calming down the winds eventually as well. And then for the beach for tomorrow, if you have any interest in going to the beach in this cold weather, the winds are at 20 knots, surf 2 to 4, and the water is 63 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't recommend going to the beach. It is quite cold out there. It's sunny, but nothing you really want to do. And again, if you want to go in the water, we have 20 knot winds, 4 to 6 feet, up to 8 feet. So just be careful. Exercise caution if you do have any boats. And it's also going to be another chilly day. And the protected waters, they are choppy as well. Going into tonight, we have clear skies with 37 degrees in Tallahassee. Cold, yes. And for tomorrow, it's going to be 63 in Tallahassee. The drier air, it moves on in, and we do have the winds still 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then as we go into the 7th-day, Tuesday, we have 63. And then going on into the week, we have the mid-60s. It cools back down at nighttime, but warms back up in the day. But we're going to just go take this on over to Coral and myself, because we're going to talk about the nor'eastern activities to do if you happen to get caught up there.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I know what it's like to be feeling the bit of the cabin fever. You know, sometimes you get trapped inside your house. But we have some tips and tricks for you to stay entertained, or your friends, or at least let them know how to stay entertained, well, if they're going to be dealing with such strong snowdrifts. And the first thing is charge your electronics. Now, everyone goes through the day and forgets to charge them, but make sure you do that, because it's not going to be a fun experience if they die on you.
I never go throughout a day without charging my electronics, especially my phone. Some days, if I do forget, it is the worst. I get bored, especially in class, you know. Some people like to use their phones in class, but another good thing to have is Netflix. You want to stream the videos ahead of time, so then you can watch them in case your power does go out. You have some entertainment for a little bit.
And of course, when those batteries do die, you can always fall back on the good old Monopoly for a good couple of hours of fun. But we're going to send things out to Matthew with Around Florida.
Because even though there's a blizzard going on in the northeast, we still have a little bit to talk about down here. And we have, but I'm going to still talk a little bit because we are. Possibility, some high risks of rip currents. All of this pink right out here, just over here in this area, we're talking small craft advisory. So if you are in a small boat of any sort, I would really just stay tied up for the next couple days because, well, those winds are going to be whipping out there. And over behind me here, this is a gale warning, and the gale warning means that the winds are going to be in excess of 35 knots. So if you are in this area of the Atlantic, if you're out that far, then definitely heed caution because it's going to be whipping out there quite a bit. But for one thing we want to talk about is our temperatures here at home, because over the 24 hours we saw that cold front pass through, a little bit increase in Miami, and then here we're talking a dip by about 4 degrees. But first let's get tomorrow's forecast in because that's really important. 63 and clear tomorrow, that's going to be beautiful once again, and the rest of the state is looking quite beautiful, and tomorrow night we're dipping down once again into the mid to low 30s, so grab those jackets because it's going to be another cool night. But Josh, we've got a nor'easter to talk about.
Tell you, man, it's the big story we've been all been waiting for is the winter weather to talk about, and we got plenty of it to talk about. So let's get right to it. Here's the watches and warnings in the northeast right now. We have a winter weather advisory further inland, winter storm warning closer to the coast. Then we got a blizzard warning here right along the coast, and we don't have it here, but there's also a hurricane wind warning right near the coast as well, including the Boston area. And so let's go through these. Hurricane wind warning, that explains itself. You got hurricane winds possible 64 knots or greater coming up pretty soon. That means they're either happening or going to happen within the next 24 to 36 hours. Winter storm warning. That means you can have snow totals near over 6 inches and then possibly local amounts of 8+ inches. So it's just going to be a mess anywhere right along here. NYC's included in there. Boston's going to be in there. It's going to be a mess up there. So just, again, we mentioned it before. Don't worry about driving. Winter weather advisory is the least problematic of all of them, if you want to say that, but it's still an issue up there. Just it's going to be a winter weather mess up there. So again, the low pressure system is going to come in right through here, right along the coast. So again, you can expect the worst of it right where this blizzard warning is. So it's perfect because that low is going to go right here. The heaviest snowfall up to 3 feet, and I'm also even going above that in some areas, above 3 feet. That's just incredible, historic. And then we got the winter storm warning a little bit further inland. Here's the temperature change, and this is interesting. So follow me on this. We've got cold air advection, so that means that cold air has been coming in to the Boston area off the Atlantic and from Canada. And so what this is doing is it's cooling the atmosphere ahead of this low pressure system that's developing near the Carolinas. So what's happening is it's getting colder and it's sitting there. And then what's going to happen is the moisture from the south is going to start running up and over that layer of cold air, and it's just going to unload a ton of snow all at once within a 24-hour period. And that's just going to be a total mess. And behind that, we got high pressure coming in. That's where we have the clear skies, the windy conditions. So you got plenty of cold air coming in here. Look at this, 18-degree temperature difference from yesterday in Atlanta. That's just crazy stuff. The warm air stuff is over in the Midwest where the system is not really going to have much of an effect. But we have another shortwave coming in here, so that's also helping to increase the cold air coming in across the southeast as well. Here's the snowfall totals. I mentioned it. 28 inches near Hartford is what we're looking for. Again, it could be higher than that. It could be less than that. It depends on where that low pressure ends up going. The point is, this whole area, you're going to see snow, feet of it. So just be ready for it. Power outages likely, high winds, and tons of snow to talk about. Here's a snow cover right now. My guarantee is we're going to see purples tomorrow. Once this system starts to move through, it's just going to be an absolute mess. Moving a little bit to the west, the Midwest, you got lake effect snow across Michigan and Wisconsin. But again, this is nowhere near what we're looking for further east. Let's slide right over to it. We got rain right now across D.C., switching over to sleet and freezing rain. Then we got snow already falling across New York City, Boston, and New Jersey, Connecticut, already falling. So again, this is actually more than was forecasted, and we got even more coming tomorrow. So if we haven't stressed it enough, there's just going to be a ton of snow to talk about. For today, it's 29 in Boston. Again, you have that cold air really ushering in today. 45 in D.C., 26 in Detroit, so it's cold in the Northeast. 59 in Tallahassee, it's nippy down here, and of course, Florida. Miami, 76 degrees, 72 across Texas as well. Here's the wind chills. 16 in Boston, and it's going to increase because you got hurricane force winds. It's just going to be insane up there. 16 across Detroit as well, 33 in Minneapolis. So the cold air, again, just look at it. Contour showing it right there across the Northeast. Now I'm going to talk about across the South. Here's the futurecast temperatures. I'm going to look at Boston here. 31 for the majority of the time through tomorrow. So that means plenty of snow because we're below freezing. Then look what happens. Tomorrow, we might get up into the mid to upper 30s, which will really make a mess because you have ice, freezing rain, sleet. That just makes it even worse. But we'll say pretty cold. We'll talk about snow for the most part across much of Boston. But for right now, we're going to head back off to the desk.
Josh, and as we're talking about this nor'easter, it has, this area has seen a lot of record-breaking storms.
It has. The first one was March 11th through 14th in 1888. So that was over 100 years ago, and that resulted in over 400 deaths. And that was also known as the Great White Hurricane.
That's rough. And to think that was topped by the Christmas blizzard in 1947. That didn't cause as many fatalities with only 77, but over 2 feet in less than 24 hours, and it continued to pile on from there with snow drifts up in 30 feet.
I can't even imagine. I like the beaches and the sand of sunny South Florida, but we're talking about how this storm in the Northeast might be breaking these records, but at least we don't have to worry about that here.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we're still going to see that touch of cold weather tonight. It makes us uncomfortable, but nowhere near is what they're going to be experiencing out in the Northeast. We're only going to be seeing temperatures around 47 today, and of course that high today was 59 degrees, so we cannot complain at all for what we're dealing with right now. And of course temperatures across the area, 60 in St. Mark's, 54 in Tallahassee, 52 in Quincy. A little warmer than everything, but of course that northerly wind sure made things a little blustery outside. I know I was rocking the wind-blown hair look today because I don't really have much of a choice. But going on to the satellite and radar, you can see that cold front, yes, from last week actually, that brought us a lot of rain. And of course, you can see a little bit of semblance of a cold front right here. If you just follow that cloud line, there's another weaker cold front going to move through in the next few days. Bring a slight chance of any precipitation, but nothing much. It's going to be a fairly weak system. And here it is as I move over to show you. It's going to be moving on through with a little bit of precipitation, perhaps. Just expect it to be a mostly cloud cold front, as the one we saw last week is going to be continuing off into the northeast. There's the one we're going to be seeing, of course, going into Tuesday night into Wednesday, and expect to see an increase in clouds and maybe some wind shifts, because that's going to bring things uncomfortable. And there is a high pressure system that's going to be bringing us some comfortable temperatures for the mid part of the work week, but that's going to be moving on through a little bit later as we have another system coming in on Thursday with a slightly better chance of rain for that. And for tonight, you can see 36 degrees in Monticello, 37 in Tallahassee, 37 in St. Mark's, and as I said, it is going to be cold, but we can't complain after hearing everything they're dealing with in the Northeast. They're actually starting to shut down the roadways right now, and of course curfew has been in effect, and states of emergency has been declared out ahead of this nor'easter. So yes, it's going to be cold outside Tallahassee, but we have jackets and boots to wear, so you'll be fine out there. And of course, clear night. If you want to go stargazing, it'll be nice. And then of course tomorrow, temperatures return back 62, but we still are going to be seeing those blustery northwesterly winds. So that's going to be a very interesting day for tomorrow for most of us. And of course, a lot of the ladies are going to have to deal with that wind in our hair again. So that might be a bit uncomfortable for most of us. But as we go through the 7-day, you can see, you know, really not much to complain about other than that cold weather we're going to be dealing with. So if you need to get up a little earlier, stop by Starbucks or Dunkin' and grab your hot chocolate, of course, whatever beverage that gets you going in the morning and over the evening. But expect plenty of sunshine throughout the work week, and of course, clouds starting to move in as we have that front coming in on Thursday. But going on through, we're going to just start to wrap things up, Paxton, because I know we don't like the cold. We are very much South Florida people. 60 is our cold. So I feel bad saying I'm going to be cold knowing what they're going to go through in the Northeast, especially considering this is going to be a potential record breaker. So I really do feel bad.
I really feel bad as well. But you said 60s are cold. 70 is my cold. I like the 80s. That stuff's perfect. Sun, no rain, no snow. I don't even want to shovel a driveway. At least we don't have to worry about that here.
They're going to have to be shoveling out houses from what I've been hearing about this storm. So
that's so sad.
To think this storm is not even going to be over when it's over for them. They're going to have to be dealing with the consequences of that.
I know. And the fact, like what you were talking about earlier, was how it's breaking records and the amount of snow that's already happening, and it's just going to be getting more. It's unfortunate. But
it really is.
You can see from the 7-day here in Florida, we have some beautiful suns tomorrow and Wednesday, and a little bit of chance of rain Thursday, but not too shabby if you ask me.
No, not really. People in the Northeast are going to be complaining about us Floridians being spoiled again, but you know, that's what we have here in Florida. They get their blizzards in the Northeast, we get our sunshine.
Well, you can like us on Facebook.com/FSU Weather, or follow us on Twitter.com/FSU Weather, or you can watch us anytime on Livestream.com/FSU Weather.
Of course, and we'll be keeping you all updated as anything we hear about this storm and any interesting facts or developments that continue. So make sure you always check back with us here at FSU Weather. For the show today, I'm student meteorologist Arroyo.
And I'm student meteorologist Paxton Fell. Have a good night.